What's up guys, James here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about equity and appreciation and the role that they play in short-term rental investing. Now the spotlight often gets stolen in short-term rental investing by cash flow, because obviously cash flow is one of the main number one reasons why we invest in short-term rentals, because they cash flow so incredibly well and can replace your 9-to-5 income very quickly with even as little as just one property. Don't get me wrong, cash flow is absolutely amazing and is one of the biggest reasons why I love short-term rental investing. But there are two other ways that we short-term rental investors earn our return on investment, and that is through equity, through paying down the principal on the mortgage and building up equity in the property, and through appreciation, the natural growth in the value of our underlying asset, that property, that real estate that we can look at, we can touch, we can go and visit, and they deserve some more attention. So before we give them that attention, I just want to remind you to check out the links in the description down below. They are going to teach you how to invest successfully in short-term rentals. So do it. Click the buttons. Click the links. They're in the description. They're there. The trainings are completely free. I don't charge you anything to access the trainings. You can do that completely free. And it's going to show you step by step how to invest successfully in short-term rental properties. It's going to show you how to avoid the mistakes that I made. It's going to show you how to make sure that they're a success. I'm going to hand you, I'm not literally hand you, obviously, I'm going to email it to you, but I'm going to give you an analysis spreadsheet so you can analyze deals and see exactly if they make sense or not, how much return you're going to get on your investment. It's going to break it down, cash on cash, equity return, appreciation. It's going to show you all that stuff. So again, check out the link in the description down below to get access to all that completely free. You want to know what's also free? Click on the like button. Do that while you're here. I don't know why I'm talking like this, but I like it. It's kind of fun. I'm kind of having a good time. Hit the subscribe button. There's another button there. Hit all the buttons on the screen. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Check out the link in the description down below. It's all going to help me out a lot. And if you want to help me out or you just want to help yourself out, then do it all. Okay? Awesome. Let's stop talking like this and let's go back to talking about equity and appreciation. So the first one here is equity. Equity is basically what you're building in terms of like retained earnings, essentially. You're building equity in your property. Retained earnings is probably not really the right term to use there, but essentially the way to look at it is that if you own your property, let's say you have 20% down in it. Well, every single month you pay a mortgage payment on the remaining 80% balance. And every single month, a big chunk of that is initially, especially, going to be going towards interest. And that just disappears. That's just going to your lender. That's paying for their livelihood. That's making them money, right? And that's all well and good because our tenants are the ones paying for it, not us, right? If you're paying for it, that is not great. But if your tenants are paying it, your guests are the ones paying for it, all good, all gravy. But another chunk of that money is actually going into essentially your bank account. A bunch of that money that you're paying towards your mortgage is actually going towards paying off the loan that you have, the actual principal on the loan that you have on the property. So it's essentially going into a little forced savings account where you can't access it right now. You have to either use a home equity line of credit or refinance or sell the property to be able to access it. But as long as the property obviously maintains its value, you then have this additional equity. You own a larger and larger and larger chunk. So instead of owning 20% when you start, or maybe you put 10% down, something like that, you own a larger and larger percentage of that property as time goes on without you actually having to pay that mortgage bill because your guests are paying it for you. Now that's really fantastic. And initially it's going to get you on like a $500,000 property. Maybe you're getting $10,000, $12,000 a year in just principal pay down on the mortgage. But then as you go longer into the mortgage, typically the way mortgage payments are structured, the schedule for payments is that more interest is paid up front, less interest and more principal is paid on the long tail. So as time goes on, every year you're going to be paying off more and more principal, less and less interest on your mortgage. So that means you're going to be making more money in this kind of forced savings account. And so although it's not tangible, like you can't actually access it, you can't go and touch it, you can't go and spend it, it is still there. And so that's largely why we don't want to bank on it, is because if the property value goes down, you may not be able to access it in the short term until the property value goes back up. But it is there, it is real, and so it is still a really great additional kind of cherry on top of your investing. And so you can also calculate that, figure out exactly what it's going to be, and then add that to your cash on cash ROI and your appreciation ROI to get your total ROI. Speaking of appreciation ROI, that's the other way, the third way that you're going to make money on real estate investing, and short-term rental investing falls into that category. It is, of course, real estate investing. Now, appreciation ROI, there's two different types of appreciation. There's forced appreciation and there's natural appreciation. One you have more control over, forced one, right? Because you're the one that's actually forcing the appreciation on the property. So what that means is basically taking this $500,000 home and turning it into a $700,000 home. So now you have an extra $200,000 if you were to go to sell the property, refinance the property, or get a home equity line of credit. You could access different portions of that. Obviously, the only way to access all of that additional is to sell the property, but you can access different portions of it through home equity line of credits, through refinances. I'm not going to get into all that detail in this video, but just know that it is there. So how do you do that? How do you take a $500,000 property and turn it into a $700,000 property? Well, it's probably going to require you to invest some of your money as well as some of your strategy into making the right renovations. So forcing appreciation on a long-term rental property essentially just comes down to, if it's a commercial asset, getting that property to yield more money. Commercial assets, meaning long-term rental multifamily properties and other commercial type, there's other commercial assets as well. But basically they're valued based on their cash flow. If you ever heard the term cap rate, it's a calculation to figure out what the value of a property is based on, or it's the relationship between the amount of income that a property generates in a year and the value of that property, right? And so there is a direct relationship there, but in short-term rental investing, there isn't so much. In short-term rental investing, it's really more about the value of the actual property itself from a more subjective point of view. So that you want to think about, a nice kitchen, a nice bathroom. It's not about how much income does the property generate. Now, I think that we're going to start to see times in the future where these assets are actually valued based on their incomes, and you certainly can get larger assets like multifamily, like a boutique hotel type deal that is going to be valued based on its income. But for the most part right now, the majority of the properties you're going to be investing in, because you can't get lending on them in most areas based on the income. Again, you can in some areas, so that's why we're going to start progressing towards them being valued off of their income. But for the most part, they're going to be valued the same way any other single family home would be, just looking at the actual home, looking at comps in the area, etc. And so what we want to do is do strategic renovations. They're going to make that property more valuable. So think about redoing the kitchen, getting rid of that blue carpeting, redoing some bathrooms. And if you, let's say, invest $20,000, $30,000 in the right areas in the home that make it more desirable for everyone. I'm not talking about painting the bedrooms, your favorite shade of blue. I'm talking about actually doing strategic renovations that the market is going to deem valuable. Then you can force appreciation that is greater than the investment you've made. So maybe you invest $20,000 and lift the value of the property by $60,000. Well, then you basically have created $40,000 worth of value there. And so that's forced appreciation. Now, the other type of appreciation is natural appreciation. That is when the property's value goes up because of fairy dust, just because the market overall is rising, right? Things get more expensive, things inflate, and so there's gonna be natural appreciation in a lot of markets. Now, this is going to vary. This is a bit more of a lottery ticket, a bit more of a wild card. So you want to invest in areas that you believe are stable, where the property is at least going to retain its value in the long term and not lose value, obviously. But as far as which markets are really going to shoot off and which ones aren't, there's a lot more guesswork that goes into that. And frankly, you have to look way more in detail. There are people that can predict the appreciation of a market and look at a whole bunch of different factors, from immigration policy to inflow of new immigrants to population growth, all these different factors, and figure out which areas are going to grow and are going to naturally appreciate by larger margins. And then there are a bunch of people that just place bets, and they're basically just going to the casino, right? They don't have any clue what they're doing. They're just going, oh, well, it's been going up in the past, so it'll go up in the future. Now, the latter, not a really great strategy. The former, if you're one of those people who can look at different markets, all kinds of different economic drivers, and figure out where population growth is going to be headed in the next 10, 20 years and start investing there and see your property values rise, amazing. More power to you. That is not the type of investing we're doing, because that is much more speculative. It's based on what we think is going to happen in the future, as opposed to what is happening right now. That's one of the big benefits of short-term rental investing, is that we get the certainty of knowing that this investment does make sense right now. We can base that off of how the property is going to perform right here, right now. So natural appreciation, yes, you can figure out ways to determine and kind of try to predict with relative certainty where the demand is going to go and where the appreciation is going to go as a result. But generally speaking, you want to be conservative with your estimates, and you want to assume maybe 2% per year in appreciation in a standard market. If you assume that, you're probably not going to go wrong. Yes, there might be dips down where the property value is going to decrease, but if you hold on to the property long term, then statistically speaking, if you just look at all the historical numbers, if you hold on to it for long enough, you'll be able to sell it at a profit where the property is appreciated by 2% or more per year. Now, again, in a lot of markets, it's going to be way more substantial. 2% is very, very conservative for a lot of markets. That's the way I like to look at it. I like to say ultra conservative. And that's basically just the cherry on top of the cherry on top of your sundae of short-term rental investing, is that without really having to do anything but hold on to the property, its value goes up over time, and you get to sell it at a profit later on down the road, or you get to refinance it, or you get to take out a home equity line of credit to tap into some of that equity. So those are the two different ways, in addition to cash flow, that you can earn a return on your investment from short-term rental investing. And those, in my opinion, just take this really good investment and make it absolutely great, absolutely fantastic. Honestly, I would still be investing in short-term rental properties even if they just yielded cash flow and stayed dead even on equity, because they're such a great investment. The cash flow is so strong. But the fact that we've got equity to rely on, the fact that we've got appreciation to rely on, makes it even better and can give us a cool backup plan. If you do a renovation project on your property and lift the value of the property, well, then you've got a real good backup plan. If short-term rentals ever don't work out so well, you can sell the property at a really nice profit. So there's all kinds of ways to combine different strategies to make it an incredible return on your investment. I've talked about that a bunch on this channel. If you want to learn more about it, check out the links in the description down below. If you want to just learn more overall about how to invest successfully in short-term rental properties from start to finish, make sure you check out the link in the description down below for that free training. Again, keyword there, free. Check it out. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. Check it out. Link in the description down below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.